We've done so many different types of mock drafts. This is the one that we haven't done yet. It is an ESPN points scoring system mock draft. I'm picking at number 5, and Michael Bolton, he's the co-pilot.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I have been referred to as ludicrously capacious. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers who place a $5 bet get a 3-week free trial for NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We're free. We're available on all platforms. So give us some thumbs and bangs and all that stuff. And yes, I know I haven't done every sort of draft. I haven't done a 10-team draft. I haven't done a 14-team draft. I haven't done a 16-team draft. I haven't done a 20-team draft. I haven't done an auction draft. But this is covering all of the 12-team snake varieties. Yahoo points, ESPN points, Roto, and a couple of head-to-heads. Again, we cover that most popular format. Next week, early next week, there will be an auction mock draft, and then we will start to spread into some different sizes. I probably won't do 14, 16, 18, 20. I'll do a 14. I'll probably do a 20. I'll probably do a 10. We'll see. There's going to be lots of them. We're going to do a series like we always do of picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All that will come in the weeks coming. Also, Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl. You're going to get information on joining that next week. This is the scoring system that we use for the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl points leagues. Last year, we had 30 divisions of 12 teams, so 360 teams in the points league format. We'll go for that again, and if we get more, we get more. Simple. Just all depends on demand. We've got a Roto one, and we've got a head-to-head one. Last season, we had 90 total leagues. I want us to get to 100, maybe 120 this season. We'll see how we go. ESPN points. That is what we are doing here today, but for an uninterrupted mock draft presentation, I'm going to tell you now that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. We've talked about FanDuel a lot. It's America's #1 sportsbook for a reason. And now there is something different right there for you. All the way through to September 22nd, FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. With your YouTube TV base plan, you're able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game, and all you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel that anytime. Plus, there's also FanDuel's Profit Boost that is running at the moment in the app. You can use it to on FanDuel's W winnings as well. All of Sunday, 15th of September, with pre-game moneyline bets. Profit Boost will start on the 12th of September, so today. Go to your account page and you can find out more about that boost. Check out the free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket at FanDuel.com as well, and download America's #1 sportsbook. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. As kids, curiosity is at the forefront. As an adult, you know that. As a kid, you know that. You're always looking to learn and grow and find out new things, and maybe you're being annoying, but that's okay, because learning is fun. Learning and doing something new and mastering it is a great thing, but as adults, you get worn down, you get tired, you lose that spark, that curiosity. Therapy can be a way, not of learning something new, but of getting back the inspiration, getting back the time management skills, working through things that enable you to rediscover your curiosity and start your back-to-school era, or maybe restart your back-to-school era. So if you've been thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, it's flexible, it is suited to your schedule. It is just easy stuff. Get in there, match with a therapist, and if you don't actually end up having that rapport with a therapist, well, you can easily just switch to another one free of charge. So rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, we're going to get ready for this mock draft. So I'm just going to go make sure everyone's in the room. Come back. I'm picking at 5. Have a think about what you would do at pick number 5 in an ESPN point scoring mock draft, and we'll see whether it matches up with what I do. All right, it looks like we've got everyone full in the room. Let's flick across into the draft room. Like I said, I'm picking at number 5. I get the feeling that I am going to be able to get one of my top 4 players in an ESPN scoring format. We'll see how others approach this draft. Obviously, we're expecting that Wembanyama or Jokic goes at 1. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Doncic, because Doncic is obviously a really good points league guy, might be better than Wemby, might be better than Jokic. How much do people weigh a 2-game playoff week into this? We will find out. And then the interesting one's going to be Shea to me, because I don't have Shea projected as a top 4 ESPN points league guy. So we'll see whether someone takes him there, because that's the interesting one. Because if someone takes him in the top 4, that means that one of my top 4 guys falls to me at 5. Let's see what the big fella top dog does at that selection. News today on the likelihood or potential or likely scenario of AJ Griffin retiring from basketball. Is this guy not going to pick? The first pick, you were here, my guy, you're not going to pick? Come on. All right, we'll talk about AJ Griffin in a second, but I might have to just what's this bloke doing? I'm not letting the first pick auto pick, I'm telling you that now. All right, it is time to fix that. All right, that guy claims he was in the room, didn't make a pick, but let's unpause the draft and get back into business. Top dog, you are back on the clock for the second time for this difficult decision of picking Victor Wembanyama. There you go. Now, Fihava Video Toners, if that is your real name, I think you'll be taking Nikola Jokic. Yep, there we go. So now we get to the interesting one. Super Schlong. Okay. All right. What are you doing at pick number 3? I'm going to guess you take Luka. No, Giannis. That is an absolutely, completely fine with that. That is avoiding the 2-game scenario. Are you going to seriously say that maybe Luka falls to me at 5? Is that going to happen here? And then I have to make the 2-game call? Nah, surely not. Sar Bumba takes him at 4. All right, so that's really interesting. So I was wrong. I thought that one of my top 4 guys would fall because someone would take Shea in the top 4, and they did not. Now, I've got Shea and Anthony Davis very close to each other here. I will take Gilgeous-Alexander there, but that is not how I expected that to go very clearly. I thought that I'd probably get Giannis falling to me at 5. Huh. Okay. All right. Now, Ariel, wow, that is a bananas pick. That is an absolutely... I apologize to you, Ariel. I'll say it's hard to go wrong in the first round. You went wrong. Sorry, you just went really, really wrong. Trey averaged 47 ESPN fantasy points last season. That you went terribly wrong. My guy, what is happening? So Davis goes at 7. Maybe you didn't go wrong. Maybe this looks stupid in hindsight, and Trae Young is the 6th best player. What are we doing? Anyway, Davis goes at 7. Halliburton at 8. Embiid has fallen here. This is about the area where Embiid starts to go, even though I am queasy about doing it, and I would not do it at this spot. Let's see what Damo does. Damo, you said you were in the room, my guy. Don't make me get angry again. For the second time. Give us your honor. Come on, Damo. There we go. What is happening in this draft? Actually, you know what? I've got Sabonis 11th, and that's totally okay. And one of the guys ahead of him is LaMelo. So, you know what? Scratch that, Damo. I will give you my lighter. That's good. Al Mandela. At 10 goes Joel Embiid. Well, this has been... What I do like about this draft is it's different. It's people taking into consideration, playoff schedules, which is interesting. It's taking into consideration ESPN point scoring format, which is also doubly interesting. I also took on feedback from people who said, hey, can you move your bloody stupid head out of the queue on this draft screen for YouTube? So I've done that too. Not that I always fill my queue massively, but people wanted that. At pick 11, Karan takes Jace Tatum. At 12 goes Goose Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, for reference, was the 27th ranked player in ESPN fantasy leagues last season. That is maybe a little high. Jimmy Harden goes at 13, which is okay, but there are some really interesting players sort of still sitting at the top, and the number one interesting player, LaMelo goes, okay. LaMelo at number 14 is interesting. The one who's interesting to me here is LeBron, because LeBron was 7th last season in ESPN point scoring. There's obviously a risk associated with him. Curry was 28th, by the way. That is not one that I would feel great about. He's still okay, given the way that the draft room is shaping out. But just also remember that these point-scoring formats and guys like Curry and guys like Durant and guys like Trey, they're not as good in points formats as they are in category formats. Damo really, he's a deep thinker, Damo. He's really like just narrowing down what he's going to do after he took Sabonis there. Oh, Scott Barnes. Okay. I don't mind that one for Scott. I think there are still a few players ahead of him, and we are getting closer to my pick, and I'm going to start working out what I'm going to do. I'm just going to throw Dev Booker into the queue. Chicago Bulls makes the pick of Don Mitchell. Okay. I'm okay with that. Alperen Şengün took Davis in round 1. Will he take Alperen Şengün here? I've had this guy in the draft before, and he avoided taking Alperen Şengün, which was extremely upsetting when that happened. Oh, but he does it this time. He does not let me down, the big fella. Good for him. Well, LeBron goes. That would have easily been my pick. So that guy took Trae Young in round 1, which was a huge L, I thought. And now he takes LeBron here, which is a massive W. So, like, if you just switch those around and assume LeBron's the first and Trae's the second, I think it actually balances the value out pretty well. I am going to take, he's really good in this format, Jalen the Burner Brunson. He's really good in this format. Now, I wouldn't consider that in a head-to-head league. I probably wouldn't consider it in a Yahoo league. He was 18th last season. I picked him at 20 here. Okay with that. I understand he's probably going to step back a little bit from where he was last season. I'm fine there. Like, Booker's probably going to have some concerns with Budenholzer in minutes and Tyus Jones. The other guys who were sitting at the top of my list, and someone asked me also the other day, hey, why don't you ever do these drafts live? And the reason I don't do these drafts live is, A, it becomes annoying when people drop out of drafts and then you got to pause live shows. That doesn't work. Well, you can't pause live shows. You've got to sit there twiddle your thumbs while something happens. But the other part of it is that you have to hear me talk through my process. What am I going to do? Who's in my queue? What am I thinking of with these picks? And not that it's I care in a mock draft if someone listens to what I say, but it makes the mock draft turn unrealistic because they all hear what I'm thinking or hear what I'm going to say, and then they can make their adjustments based on that. And that doesn't have any reflection in reality at all. So that's why, if someone wants to ask why I don't do them live, because if I'm going to talk, otherwise I just sit there and go, I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to pick. Let's see who it is. And that's stupid as well. So after Devin Booker goes at 22, Durant goes at 21, Booker 22, Irving 23, Maxey 24, followed by Banchero at 25. Now, Paolo is not as good in the ESPN Points League format. He was 50th last season. That's tough, man. It's not tough at all. Chet Holmgren goes at 26 and De'Aaron Fox goes at 27. Another very, very interesting selection. Fox is a great one there. And who I want in my pick, I want 100% Ja Morant. Or did he go? No, Bam went. This is easy Ja for me. Ja last season averaged 45 in the 9 games that he played. This is easy Ja for me. Bang, Ja Morant. Done. The other ones in the mix there for me were Kawhi, who I just don't want to take. Round 3, I'll consider it, but I'm not that interested. And Zion is the other one who I was very, very close to pulling the trigger on. Damian Lillard falling all the way down there to 30, which is, again, it is fine that he falls that far because that is where his value is in an ESPN Points League. He was 29th last season. In a category league, you want to go to 17, do it. Let's see. So after Ariel, I know, again, main characters. Maybe we switch main characters through a draft. Ariel, you were the main character taking Trae Young at 6 because that was silly. And now your next 2 picks I really, really like. DeJounte Murray goes next to Şengün. And Murray's one of those ones who I thought would see a downtick in production or even in my projections when I did them. But he came out way higher than I thought because one of the reasons why I was down on Murray in Atlanta is he put up big rebound numbers in San Antonio. Now, that was part of his strength. Good steals guy, got some assists, big rebounds for a guard. But going to Atlanta, those rebounds were never going to exist. He was playing alongside John Collins initially and Clint Capella. He was never getting those rebounds, and they fell way off. Well, guess what team he's on now? A team that doesn't have a center or a good rebounder. So not only do I think his assists are going to go up, his usage will come down. I think his assists will go up, and I think that his rebounds are going to go up as well. And that's why my projection ended up better than I expected for DeJounte, who went at 31. Kawhi goes at 32, and the Bronco goes at 33, and Fred VanVleet at 34. Now, that's obviously not an ADP of 92 where Fred VanVleet sits on ESPN because that's clearly insane. It's really good value to get him there, I think, though. Zion is an amazing pick from Curran at 35, and Cade goes at 36. So both those guys are top 25 players to me. And a few of the guys that were sitting as top 30 guys all just ran off the board there in that part of the next round. I reckon old mate Curran, Carl Towns just went. Who's Curran going to take in this one? I think he's going to go with Siakam or Mobley. That's my guess. And that's what I would do. And we're getting into Paul George territory, Jalen Johnson territory, Jaylen Brown territory. I didn't do third round reversal for this draft because obviously this is ESPN scoring format. ESPN leagues do not allow that. Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl will have third round reversal, and we're going to mix and match whether we do third round reversals. I'll probably even do one mock where I do all round reversal. We'll see how that goes as well. Jalen Johnson, what? Curran surprised me. So it goes Jalen Johnson, then it goes Pascal Siakam. Evan Mobley is just going to go into my queue there. Why is Anthony Simons so high up on this queue? Oh, it's because I had a filter on. Paul George is going into my queue as well. Well, Paul George just went to Damo. Damo, a good pick there from you. So Evan Mobley is my target here. Emmanuel Quickley and Jaylen Brown are going to be my guys. Now, I do worry a little bit about Jaylen Brown and rests down the stretch because of how good that team may be. But maybe they aren't as good early on in the season because there is no Porzingis. So I've got Mobley, Quickley, Brown in my queue. I probably just want to throw one more player in there. Is it Des Bane? It is Des Bane that I want to throw in that queue. Bane is a guy that I don't draft that often. Ooh, Julius Randle. All right, I like that one. Julius Randle's an interesting one that, again, I've said this many times, that people will tell you what a terrible pick he is in category leagues because he finished 129th last season. And as I will continue to say, if you believe that Julius Randle was the 129th best player last season, you believe Giannis was 34th, you believe that Toby Harris was 40th, you believe that Max Strus was 30 spots better than Randle and 50 spots better than Paolo Banchero. Like, if you can't say those things out loud, you can't quote those rankings. I think Randle, even in a category league, is like a top 60 player at worst because it's all about balancing needs and scarcity and variance and all that sort of stuff. But we're not even in a category league here, we're in a points league. And Derek White goes after Julius Randle at 42, and that feels high. It's actually not. Oh, you prick, Ariel. Okay, so look, I was going to take Bane. I think part of the thing with points leagues, and they can be, people can criticize them. It's so easy, and I'm not going to lie to you. It is simpler. It is a lot simpler than a category league. And one of the benefits of that is in a draft like this, where I was saying I'm going to take Bane. And then Bane went. And in a category league, I would go, what do I do now? Do I look for another player that's like Desmond Bane? Or do I pivot this and then have to get someone like that in the next round? Like, what do I do? In a points league, it was just easy to go, well, who's the next highest projected player? What's Mobley? I'll just take him. And that's what I did. So I guess it's a level of stress that eases up a little bit there. And yeah, I had a handful of players, and it's always, we get into that discussion. Again, when we talk best player available, what is it? Like Mobley, Quickley, Brown, Bane, DeRozan, Markin, and Jamal Murray. I've got them all projected within like 1.5 fantasy points. So all it takes is one minor little thing to change and the order varies. So after Mobley, which was yours truly, I took him at, someone just said, how do we let him fall? I don't know, mate. You tell me. 44 for Mobley, 45 for Quickley. I like that Quickley pick. 46 for Markin. That is amazing for Markin. Actually, let me rephrase. It's good for Markkanen. He's a better cat player than points league player, and there's always the March rest risk, so maybe it's not that amazing. It's fine. I think I would have preferred Markkanen going into round 5. After Markkanen goes Jaren, then it goes Jaylen Brown to finish round 4. That's pick 48. And most of those are actually pretty on the money. Out of these top 48 picks, the ones that I've sort of turned my nose up a little bit is Trae Young was too early. LeBron, I thought, was too late. I thought Curry was too early. I thought Ant was too early. What else? I thought Paolo was probably too early. What else did I see here that sort of caught my eye? Not much more, really. Everything's been sort of where we needed to be. Jamal Murray starts off round 5, gets his big extension. We have to have some worries about health, obviously. Garland goes next. Now, that was not one that I expected. I had him very much down the list. I did not have him there, like, at all. So Josh Giddey goes next. Oh, that's interesting. Giddey at 51. All right. We do our thing. That's okay. And Jim Butler goes. Jimmy Butler was the top of my queue in terms of just per game projections, but obviously per game is not really a factor for him. So Gobert and Franz are on my list. I don't think I'm going to take them. I think I'm going to take DeMar here. I think it's about the right spot for DeRozan. Happy to get him in that position. He was 31st last season, averaging 41.5 ESPN points. So I'm pretty good to get him there. Now, if I have a look at my roster, I still do need a small forward eligible player, a center, and a forward, and I've got 2 flexes left. Obviously, Mobley can play center. DeRozan can play small forward, power forward as well, so there's some flexibility there. Gobert goes next, and then Vooch goes next to Alperen Sengun. Now, there was this weird report that the Bulls may consider not even starting Vooch or not even playing Levine to begin the season. That is crazy to me because of the history of that organization. Now, obviously, they just need to get rid of those guys and rebuild, but it further strengthens my idea that Jalen Smith in the last couple of rounds, or being really quick to pounce on that, and given again, he signed in Chicago, Jalen Smith, because he believed he had a chance to start. And I didn't think that'd be opening night, but that's 2 things that I've heard now that suggest that Jalen Smith is going to start at some point. Very interesting. You know what? We are just going to throw Jalen Smith just sneakily into this queue so that, again, when I put out a post-draft graphic and when we talk about this, you'll see his name hopefully on my team in round 12 or something like that, just in case. After Vooch goes Kuzma, and then goes Franz Wagner. Where's Kuzma on this list? He's probably marginally early there. Toby Harris, the thick Hogsman, is about right. Cam Thomas is about right here as well. We're getting into some of the guys that people are worried about, like Ayton and Beal in this area also. And you know, for the culture, for the poutine, I'm going to put RJ Barrett into my list as well. So Cam Tool, 2 Nets guys. Thomas goes at 59 and Nico Claxton goes at 60. The 2 best projected players here are Beal and Ayton. Obviously, Beal with lower body injury concerns, and Ayton with frost-induced worries, tanking other centers. I'd like Beal in the next round. Like, if he came to my pick, I'd get him. Ayton probably as well, but there's going to be other guys that I like here. Some of the players you might not expect to go in this next round, I think, is going to be someone like, Barrett got picked. Curran, can you get the... I think that John Kuminga is going to be viable in this round. I'm going to be very cautious about drafting Zach LaVine, given some of these reports, so I won't be taking him. So Barrett goes at 62, Ingram at 61. Not sure about Ingram there. Jarrett Allen hasn't gone yet. No, let's put him into the queue. Miles Turner goes, that's about right. I'm going to throw the bucket into my queue here. John Kuminga's obviously a much better points league guy than category league guy. He averaged 27 ESPN points last season. That should push comfortably over 30 this year. You would consider that it will be, well, Jarrett Allen goes next. It is going to be considered early if I take him at my selection, which is pick 68. But again, it's more about, you know, how much room can I squeeze out of Kuminga with his ADP at 90 versus I'm just trying to illustrate to you where that pick should go. We'll see what happens when we get to my pick, though. Jarrett Allen was the last pick. He went at 64. We're getting into the part where people are going to have to make decisions on Brandon Miller, Devin Vassell, D'Angelo Russell. Beal. Well, let's throw Beal into the queue. So Vassell goes. All right, it's a good spot. Let's throw Beal into that spot. Let's throw Ayton over here as well. Hartenstein, Middleton, Poole are also in this group. They're, Poole and Middleton, especially people, as I just abbreviate Jordan Poole's name to Pooh, which is apt. And Brandon Miller is, there goes Miles Bridges, ahead of Mikal Bridges. Didn't think I would see that, but I also don't have Mikal. I got actually Miles projected ahead of Mikal, so that makes sense. Well, Ayton goes. The snowman's off the board. So what do we do here? Do I take Bealo? I think I'm just going to... I could very easily let Kuminga fall, take him at 77, and say that's really good value. And in probably competitive leagues, I'd be very happy to do that. And if I didn't get him, it's all okay. We get somebody else. But for the purpose of this draft, the purpose of highlighting where I think is a good area for John, let's just snag him there. Again, I would likely just let that roll, see if he lasts the next 8 picks, and if he doesn't, all well and good, we'd get somebody else, and someone else would enjoy the services of Johnny Kuminga. But it is about highlighting that anywhere to me in this round 6 range is okay, I think, for Kuminga in an ESPN points league. Anthony Simons goes next. Zach LaVine. Look, if LaVine plays, totally fine here. The worry that I'm starting to get now is like, what if they just don't play him and then they don't trade him? Because if he gets traded, he's still going to be fine. But what if they just don't? that would boost someone like an Ayo Dosunmu up as well to being in discussions to be drafted. Really shocked Brandon Miller has not gone yet. I thought for sure, there he goes right there, that pick. That's a really good pick for you at 71. Fehvar Video Stoners, my bad. Video Toners. I still can't read. I'm going to put D'Angelo Keegan Murray. That is absolutely disgusting. What is that pick? Holy shitballs. What? I say that, and I better go check my projections. Yeah, absolutely not. He was 97th last season. What on earth? I'm sorry, top dog. That makes you bottom dog. Now, maybe you want to be bottom. I don't know. But what are you doing? You feeling all right? That stinks. That's up there for the worst pick of this draft. And I say this with no disrespect whatsoever, and we're all having fun. That stinks. What are you doing? Speaking of stinks, the next pick is Jalen Green. Interesting strategy that old mate Top Dog is going for here. Where did I have Jalen on my list of guys that I am targeting? Not very high. Can't even see where he is. Maybe he just got wiped off the board. I know that he wasn't at the top of my list, so that's an interesting strategy. We'll see where that ends up putting the big fella in terms of the standings. Brad Beal, this is where what I would want to happen for Beal is he falls into this round 7. The value is, or actually round 6 would have been fine for Beal because I've got him as a round 5 player, a top 60 guy per game. So that ends up, and yeah, taking Miller there is actually thievery as well. Didn't love the Garland pick from Fehvar Video Toners, but I think Miller and Beal there is really quite strong. Nurk, wow, did not think I'd be seeing Yusuf Nurkic at that spot, especially with someone like Isaiah Hartenstein sitting still around. Now, my queue has got a lot of people in it still. Like Nurkic, I usually am higher on Nurkic than most, but clearly not, because that's too high for me. Only marginally, not far off, but there's just a lot. You can see the bunch of guys I've got on my list there that I would prefer over him. Saar Bumba's a very interesting name. Just quietly, I was thinking about this. This is what I do when I drive. Right? I was thinking about this the other day. That the Clippers are such a weird team. Not only are they the champions of domestic violence and sexual assault rehabilitation, but their team is so weird that they have got 2 players on their bench. D'Angelo Russell goes, damn it, that's who I wanted. Let me make my pick. Do I just do this for the culture and take Jordan Poole? Or do I do a better pick? And what's my center depth? No, I still need one. Let's take Hartenstein there. I was sitting there thinking about the Clippers and their bench, and they've got 2 guys on that bench, Kevin Porter Jr. and Mo Bamba, that the most insane opinions about those players fly around all the time. And you know that if something happens to Zubats, or if Bamba has a game where he hits 3 threes at the start of the second quarter, the people are going to be going wild. I had a YouTube comment and I know this is a very, very high bar to pass. One of the more insane things that I have ever seen on a YouTube comment, that is hyperbole. But the guy said, you're sleeping on Kevin Porter Jr. Okay, fair enough. I actually think I've got him projected higher than most. I've got him at like 25 plus minutes a game and a somewhat draftable player, right? I think that's higher than nearly anybody. But he goes, Kevin Porter is going to average 30 points a game. He's going to get close to 30 points a game. It's easy for him to do that. And all they need to do is tailor their offense around him so he can average 30 a game. My guy. He's probably not going to start. What team that employs Kawhi Leonard and James Harden is going to say, right, guys, scrap everything? Kevin Porter Jr., domestic violence legend, soup throwing legend, guns in your motorbike legend, out of the league playing in Greece legend. Everything's out of the way. He is running the show. Let's win 12 games. What is happening? But that's their bench. So get ready for nonsense. Anyway, after I took Hartenstein, went Jordan Poole, Jalen Duren, Kobe White feels, it's a little early, bit early, but whatever. His team's Chicago Bulls, so go for it. Mikal Bridges is fine there. Austin Reeves is fine. Chris Middleton is great. Jakob Poeltl is, I won't say Middleton's great, actually. It's okay. Poeltl's good there. Drew Holiday is not someone I'm going to be super targeting, but it's actually fine. Tyler Hero in that area is also pretty good. So nothing too outrageous, I don't think, in that group. Now, my queue has been wiped. I've only got my late round Jalen Smith in there. So let's refill it. Zubats goes next at pick number 87 after Hero went 86. I'm just throwing Mark Williams into the queue. I am going to throw Pajemski into my queue as well. I am going to throw Christian James McCollum into there, as much as I do not like Christian James McCollum. I will put him there because we are getting to value territory. I'm going to put his teammate Ken Murphy III into that zone. I am going to put Terry Rozier, next Spasm legend, into that spot as well. There goes Mark Williams. I'm not taking him. So, all right. So that's the top of the queue blown up. Well, the top of my list of guys that I wanted blown up. So I'm going to get one of these guys that are here for sure. Which one is the key, isn't it? CJ is obviously the guy with the proven track record. So is Rozier, but their full season outlook this year is very different to what it was last season. So that's where some concern comes in. Whereas Podziemski's on the rise, Murphy is maybe on the rise. We just don't know. Jabari Smith goes, and I had Jabari at about 100, so he went at 90. Totally fine. Like the difference between 90 and 100 in a points league probably is what? 1 fantasy point, 1.5. It's not a big deal, not a big difference. Ariel, let's go. What are you doing, mate? You picked Jordan Poole in that last spot. You are here at 91. My pick is 92. I think I'm going to take Poop Cookie. Michael Porter goes at 91. I think, look, the worry I'm going to have with CJ is coming off the bench. That's not ideal. Podziemski averaged 14 fewer points than CJ last season. Finished 100 spots below. So it seems insane that they'd be in the same area, but they are, to me. CJ dropping, Podziemski rising. Ken Murphy, if I knew he was starting, he'd be the easy choice there. Rozier, I worry about. Let's pot it up. I don't like seeing a position starting spot open, so I'm just going to move guys around. So that means I've only got 2 flexes left and then 4 bench. So that is early again for Podziemski. Podziemski's ADP on ESPN is 135, meaning that they think he is undraftable. Of course, what are they doing? And that is just the general phrase that we can throw about ESPN and fantasy basketball at the moment. What are they doing? But if you're in a league that is real and fair income, if you don't know what fair income means, look it up. It just means legitimate. That's not going to happen. And if you play in ESPN leagues where people track those rankings and use them, please come and join the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl for some actual real competition. Keontae George goes after Podziemski. Okay. I actually think we're going to get some big stuff from the speaker this season. Where did I have him, though? Super Schlong takes CJ McCollum, which is a very good pick there, obviously, because I was considering it, even with the associated risk. Now, we're in a really dry spot of the draft here. Scoot goes in round 8. Actually, it's fine. I had him in round 9, and I think I had Keontae in that same area too. And then Valanciunas rounds out round 8. So we had 96 picks deep. We have 6 rounds to go. Trey Murphy and Terry Rozier are the 2 guys sitting in my queue, and I've got 4 people picking before me. Who else will go into that spot for me? Does my team look like it can deal with an addition of Chris Paul? Yes, it does. I'm not filled with a million old guys or a million risky guys. So Jackson Davis goes next. That is interesting. 97 for Tracer. I don't mind it, though. Okay, so they're my 3. Murphy, Rozier, Paul. Don't really know which one I want here. Trey averaged 30 fantasy points last season. Chris Paul averaged 30 fantasy points last season in a bad situation in Golden State. Rozier averaged 37, but that is mostly with Charlotte, not with Miami. Actually, that's not true. It's about half-half, isn't it? Suggs goes at 98. Yeah, look, Rozier is going to start. Paul is going to start, but risky with minutes. Murphy, look, this is tough for me. Let's look at their ADPs. Can we decide this? Rozier's is 110, Paul's is 115, and Murphy's 128. So on ESPN sites, I could probably get him to slide back to me at 116. Thuberschlong takes a Kongwu. You know what? I never got back to the AJ Griffin story. Because he was traded to Houston. And part of the reason why I said that it was... Walker Kessler goes, all right, let me just make my pick. Chris Paul averaged 30 in 26 minutes last season. Let's take Rozier. And then let's talk AJ Griffin. Now, the reason that I said it was surprising about AJ, because I had heard a lot of stuff about AJ before last season. AJ then missed a bunch of time for personal reasons during the year. I heard other stuff about AJ and stuff that I can't say it all out loud because it's not my business to disclose it. And not that I'm an authorized, it's not my business to disclose it. But seeing Shams tweet out that AJ Griffin is seriously considering retiring, if you were to tell me one player in the NBA who wasn't 30 plus that was going to do that, it would very easily be him. Based on everything that I'd heard about what has happened over the last 18 months or so with him personally, and with how things have been. So that's, again, I can't sit here and go, well, this is exactly why, and this is what happened. Right? I can't tell you what that is exactly, but that is why I said it was not a surprise to see, unfortunately for a guy so young with so much promise, at the beginning of his career, unbelievably young player with elite rookie season numbers for a guy that age, and stuff just didn't happen year two, not basketball related. Like, his basketball was not good, but I think that was influenced by the off-court stuff. After Rozier, which was me, clearly, I just said that, was Bogdanovic at 102, Draymond 103, which I think is a pretty good pick for Draymond there. Porzingis at 104, obviously we know the risks of that. I don't love it, but we are probably late enough that it gets okay. Trey goes to Damo at 105. I like that from you, Damo. And Jeremy Sohan goes at 106, and Amen Thompson goes at 107, Dan Gafford 108. Gafford's ADP 133 on ESPN. One guy that I would be starting to consider here is Malik Monk, but the Kings situation is very weird. Alice, Monk, Herter, addition of DeRozan. How do the minutes go? Klay Thompson. Nope. But you know what? When your name is Scott Barnes MVP, decisions that you make that may seem weird probably fits the personality. Shout out to Canada. No offense to you personally. All right, Clay's gone. Hate that pick. Hate it. Derek Lively should be going here. Derek Lively not going and Dan Gafford going so far is weird. Who was that? Chris Paul. You bastard, Mandela. I'm going to throw Wiggo into my queue. I've already got... This is a question which I actually don't get as much anymore, but I used to get it all the time. Is it okay if I take two players from the same team? How many players from the same team is too many? Okay. The answer to me is if you have 4 players from the same team, it's probably too many. 3 is fine. But like if you're a Dallas team with a 2-game playoff week, or the Pelicans also have a 2-game playoff week and you're taking 2 of those guys in the top 4 rounds, which you probably wouldn't for the Pelicans, but I wouldn't want to add DeJounte and Zion together. It's all about balance. To me, when you hit 4, unless the 4th one is the guy in the last round, probably don't want to do it. People also talk about the idea of handcuffing, which I've spoken about before. Like, is taking Chet and Hartenstein a handcuff? No, it's not, because Hartenstein has significant value on his own. Now, if Chet was to miss, Hartenstein value would rise. It's like taking Paul George and Maxey together. So there's some value in that. But you are not taking that player because of that reason. You're taking them on their standalone value. A handcuff is taking Andre Drummond with Joel Embiid, which in a regular fantasy basketball league does not work, because you do not have bench ability to stash guys. The built-in upside of taking 2 guys together, Luka and Kyrie, although again the playoff week kills you, but in a roto league, I actually love Luka and Kyrie together. I think it's an unbelievable combination in a roto format. That's great. I've got to think of a different word versus handcuffing, because that's not a handcuff. After Derek Lively went at 112. Avdia 113. It's my pick coming up here. It's my pick now. Avdia 113. Caruso 114. Smart 115. Caruso feels too high. I've got Malik Monk projected in this area. I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I will take Wiggins, but because my projection for Monk is so robust, but I'm just really worried about what they're going to do with him. I'll throw OG is going to go into my queue as well. He should be starting to go here, but that Caruso one, man, that is a little weird to me. So after Wiggins goes Aaron Gordon, then OG Anunoby, good pick. Where did I have Caruso? Maybe it's not as weird as I think. Let's have a look. As I just bring up my thing. Oh no, he's already wiped off my board. So Ross Westbrook is going to start to move into this mix, I think. After Anunoby goes Mike Conley. which is not a great points league pick. But we are in round 10. It is time to start hitting upsides. Let's put some upside names into the queue. Noah Clowney, a great one. DiVincenzo at 10 is one that I don't love. It's not terrible. I don't love that. Let's throw Alex Sarr into the queue. Let's throw Hendricks into the queue. We're just throwing some upside guys in here because this is where we start hitting upside. Starting spots are filled. Surprised Naz Reid hasn't gone. Let's throw Dyson Daniels into... What's this? Dyson Dup Daniels. Oh, they've got a duplicate version of him, so we're not taking that. So be aware of that in Fantrax. There's 2 Dyson Daniels in the system. Daniels just goes there. So top dog, even though I've criticized some of your picks, you are using the 10-11 upside zone well. That's what you should be doing. I see what Fehavar Video Toners has done in his last 2 picks, taking Mike Conley and Jeremy Grant, which are very low upside players. You don't have to take all upside with your last 4 picks. You'd probably want to start to get somebody in there. I don't think that either of those guys feel anywhere close to that definition. Who else isn't up? I've got Jalen Smith, which we'll do. I'll probably do Jalen in round 12, I think. Just again as an illustration point. Do I take old mate 30-point scoring legend Kevin Porter Jr.? Oh, Alex Sarr went to the team not called Sarr. That must be really disappointing. Brook Lopez goes in round 11. Now, I will just take Malik Monk here. Is Malik Monk an upside pick? I think a little bit. I got him projected top 100, which again, I just don't feel super good about. But I do have him there. So let's put him into that spot. I think the Kings are going to play faster this season as well, which is part of the reason I'm feeling a little bit better about some of their guys. I'm also thinking they're going to lean more into offense. Jordan Clarkson going in round 11 is just not it. So that pick 1 after me, I'm not into Jordan there at all. Naz Reid goes the pick later. Yeah, I think the Kings are going to bump that, what's his name up? Bump that pace up a bit from last season. I am going to make an adjustment to my Monk projection. I think it was too high. After I've made the selection, I think there was something a little bit off on that. Anyway, that's fine. Jaden Ivey goes in round 11. And then Damo ready to make his pick. So I've got my 3 upside guys there. Smith, Clowney, Hendricks. Clowney, Hendricks are better in category leagues than points. Actually, one of the upside guys I'm going to take is going to be Shaden Sharp as well. Did he just go? No, that's Westbrook. Then Cam Johnson. Why is my A not working? Or did Shaden just go? Yeah, he just went. All right, there you go. So Cam Johnson goes. Shaden Sharp goes. Throw Zach Edey into the queue. I'll throw John Collins into the queue. I don't like John Collins much this season, but he's in the right spot in this area. Al Horford goes, which is actually pretty good, I think. He works better in ESPN points than he does in Yahoo points. PJ Washington or John Collins is a nice pick. That Horford-Collins grouping, as much as I do like upside in this spot, and you can't just go all these mid to back end guys every pick. That's pretty useless. But getting those there, as long as you do something in round 13, 14, is really good. Remember, don't try to win the projected standings battle. You can get sucked into, well, if this guy do this and I add him into my team, I'll win the projected standings. It means nothing when you get to the end of the season because there is weird things that happen all the time. You want to win the league, not the projected standings. Karis LeVert is a pretty solid pick there. I am going to do, again, just forewarning what I'm going to do here at pick 12, which is number 140. I am taking Jalen Smith. And it is incredibly early and no one will see it coming, I'm guessing. And no one will think it's a good pick. But we are detailing what I said earlier about the Vooch thing. And I would 100% in nearly every situation just wait until round 14. But I just want to, again, it's making a point here. I'm taking him because there's something brewing. There's just something weird happening. Damo takes Taylor Hendricks. Love the pick. And if I can get Clowney on the way back around, I'll do that. Let's see if any other rookies go. It's just Sarr so far. The other one's Kyler Makovich, who I'd put into my queue at some point too. Tyus Jones and PJ Washington sitting there is a little weird. Let's throw Tyus into the queue. Clint Capella. That actually We can talk about upside picks. Like he took Ivy in round 11, Chicago Bulls did. Capella at round 12. If they just start Capella, like he beats that easy. Well, there goes Tyus Jones. It's a nice pick from you, Alperen Şengün. Your team is looking good. You want to talk about winning the predicted standings battle? At the moment, I'm on top, and then it's Mandela, Video, Toners, Karan, Damo, Bulls, Thupa, Saar, Şengün, Top Dog, Ariel, and Scott Barnes MVP. So Tyus Jones goes, then Malcolm Brogdon goes. Let's do it. This is going to ruin my projected standings, but at this point of the draft, again, I'm not caring, especially for the purpose of what we're doing. So it's time for Jalen Smith. And let me rephrase again, I do not suggest that we take him necessarily in this spot, but I just want to put names onto radars. I want to make it so that you're watching this, you take it, what's he doing? Why is he there? And if you're looking at a recap and you're looking at a graphic and someone's talking about it, why is he doing it there? Well, this is why. I want you to understand why. Jalen goes 140. That was me, clearly. Brogdon was 139, and Asar Thompson goes at 141. So the ones that are standing out to me as solid enough value plays here as well. Like, I'm not going to be a big Dennis Schroeder guy, but he's a player we look at here for sure. Even like Herb, there goes Schroeder. That's annoying. Herb Jones, maybe. The most NPC man in the world at the moment is Bojan Bogdanovic. I know that most of you would know where he plays, but do you though? How much is he going to play? There goes Clowney. Well, they're far. All right, so I told you this about for our video toners. That you took Conley and Grant. That's all well and good, but you want to get an upside somewhere, and he did it. He took Clowney. Love it. Love it. Really good value in some of those other picks and strong upside guy. So my upside guys, the main guys I wanted there are gone. I'll throw Herb into the queue. PJ is probably going to be my target coming back around. The other one I'll throw in is Risa Shea as well. Harrison Barnes. What world is this? Sorry, what? Why is this my keyboard just not working? I'm sure it's not my keyboard. I think it's how responsive the draft room is. Harrison Barnes is, honestly, that is one of the most insane picks I've ever seen. And are you a King? Top Dog, you have to be a Kings fan. Because you took Keegan, but Barnes doesn't play for the Kings anymore. But maybe, I'd assume, what is going on in this draft? All right, just move fine. Because we just talked about maybe that Levine thing. The Barnes thing, what? Let's just have a quick look at Harrison Barnes. Last season, Harrison Barnes was the 210th ranked player in an ESPN points league, averaging 20 fantasy points. What? You cannot rationalize that one with me. No chance. Sorry, Top Dog. You are in the gun. What is that? Are you a Kings fan? Can you get CTE just from watching your team suck for so long? Sorry. Bud Hield goes at 146. I just don't think he's a good points league player. Drummond's a really interesting one. You didn't take Embiid, so that hurts the Embiid guy. But also remember, Drummond, when Embiid is healthy, plays 14 minutes a night and is basically unusable. And then he's awesome if Embiid is out. And that is a tough thing to do. So do I take... Let's just take PJ Washington there, and then we'll try Risa Shea on the wraparound, on the reach around the back. I'll take PJ there. Won't say his upside's super high, but it's also not low. And a lot of the upside guys, and this season there are fewer upside flyer players, I believe, that are available in drafts towards the end. Like, I could look at Tari East and go, love that. But what is the realistic path? It just doesn't exist. Is the prestige penis an upside guy? Well, at least the minutes are there for Dick. So maybe he does do more. Is Christian Brown an option? Well, he's a pretty bad points league player and category league player, to be honest. Do we look at Jaime Jaquez and assume that Jim Butler's going to miss? Do we try Superman? Well, there goes Jaquez. After Washington was Portis, Herb Jones, and Jaquez, so a lot of the guys I just mentioned. So far still just one rookie, and that is Alex Sarr, and I think he should be that real only rookie that gets targeted early. And I am hoping, honestly, I don't love Risa Shea, but I think he's going to get good minutes. And in round 14 of this draft, which if you're going to make any change to your league, well, there's a lot of things I can say, but if you're going to make any change to your league from default, make it go 14 rounds and not 13. There is absolutely zero reason for the team that picks first in round 1, who already gets the advantage, to pick first in 7 rounds versus the team picking last who picks first in 6 rounds. So it's just an extra advantage that team gets, which is not necessary. There's no reason, not a logical reason whatsoever for 13 to be the number to further disadvantage the last person. It is an insane default that we all just accept. I don't, because obviously I'm yelling about it, but we all accept it. It is stupid. The other thing is Yahoo's default 2 centers. That guy took Dick. I wanted to take Dick, but Scott Barnes took Dick. Risa Shea went as well. All my Q just went. Wendell Carter went. I was too busy talking about, the rant of 13 rounds. Zach Edey goes, then Risa Shea, which is annoying. Aaron Neesmith, Dick Matherin. A Gershon Yebusele sighting. That is an upside play. I would consider a DeAnthony Melton, but that probably does end up being too many Warriors players. It's 4. What the hell do I do here? Vince Williams goes. Tari Eason goes. That's great, but even squinting, I'm finding it hard to see where they push through that number. You know what we might... she's going to take Josh Hart, Şengün. That's who I was going to take. That is annoying. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope goes. Who is it? I can't even see a good upside play here. I can't even see a good upside play. You know what I might do though? Is with the absences in LA for the Clippers, I think I just might take Norman Powell there. Oh, that's so yuck, man. Holy shit, that is yuck. You know what? I should have taken Jovic, actually. A lot of the upside guys I like, Bub Carrington, Matkovic. I could have done Matkovic. He's better at category leagues. But Carrington, I think if I drafted him, he's like a 1% chance that I'd hold him through the first 2 weeks. There's just too many guys there. And he will have value later on. It's just too many guys. So that's relatively pointless. Could I take other names that I could have considered here? It's just bloody rough. Kelly Oubre, Rui Hachimura, whatever the hell happens with Bojan Bogdanovic, Mitchell Robinson, who's a bad points league guy, Max Strus, DeAnthony Melton. Well, there goes Melton. So after Powell goes Bub, these are the names I just talked about. After Powell was Bub, Bojan, Melton, and Grayson Allen goes with the final pick. So we have a look at my team picking at number 5. We went with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Brunson, Ja Morant in round 3, Evan Mobley in 4, DeRozan in 5. So relatively young team there. Kuminga in 6, Hartenstein in 7, Podziemski in 8, Rozier in 9, Wiggins in 10, Monk in 11, the Jalen Smith Flyer in 12, Paul Washington Jr. in 13, and Storm and Norman Powell at pick 14. I'm just going to pause this for a sec, come back with a little bit of analysis on the overall draft. All right, so if I take a look at the projected standings on this one, I did come out on top. Me and Damien were up the top of that list, and then it was Şengün and Sarbamba, Thupa Schlong, Top Dog, Fehervar, Ariel, Scott Barnes, Mandela, Chicago Bulls, and Curran. But what I think is interesting about looking at this is my team projected to be one of the healthier teams. I didn't really take much in terms of injury risks. Deliberately, I'm avoiding, not injury risks, guys that I know are currently hurt or my big avoid players. I'm not going to take those guys. But the average age of my team is 27. The average age of the oldest team sits at 30, which was Ariel. And then Damo's was 26 and Thupa's was 28. Fehervar was 27. Curran 25. That's very young. Top Dog was 26. Interesting. Sort of in mid-pack regards to age. All right. Points League mock draft in the books. What did you think of the team? What do you think of the Jalen Smith thing? What do you think of anything in that draft? Let me know. Comment it down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.